What other sorts of integrations do you see customers requesting more often than not?
Yeah, what do you think, Ken? What do you think is our most common ask?
A lot of it has to do with we've seen order management systems. We've seen a lot of systems where
even email.
Yeah, email. Email is a huge one, right? You know, like they want to have a custom way to, or have a more robust way to send out emails, or they don't want to use an SMTP server. They want to use something else, and that's a good one. Also, calling, voice, calling integrations, VoIP.
Text messaging is definitely becoming the biggest ask, I think, right now from our customers. You know, most people nowadays, like, you know, I'm in my 30s, Ken's 40 plus, so like I don't even really read a lot of emails nowadays, especially if I'm doing anything, you know, with other companies. Like, for example, if I'm, you know, working with somebody coming out to my house to work on something, like I would rather just have a text message just saying, hey, I'm on my way, or confirm my appointment, you know, those kinds of things, rather than trying to sift through an email that's sent to me to verify certain things. Especially, for me personally, I sit on a lot of calls all day, so it's not like I'm sitting there reading my emails. I'd rather just have a quick text on my phone to communicate back and forth. And that's probably the biggest change I've seen, at least from a communication standpoint, that people really want to be able to text message from the CRM and receive those text messages back, and really have a communicative platform that they can see all the customer, you know, information from, and still communicate in the same space.
And so how would, sorry, go ahead, Ken.
I was going to say, the great thing about texting and building or having a texting integration in your system is that this is a piece of data you already have for these people. It's not like you're building like Facebook or Twitter. You don't have to collect that information. This is a basic piece of information that's usually collected when you are onboarding any kind of lead, is their phone number. So if you have a phone number, you have multiple ways to interact with them, you know, whether that's a phone call or a text.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'd say there is a very, very sticky situation though when it comes to texting for marketing purposes. You know, we've had numerous discussions with customers on, like, hey, I just want to blast out, you know, a text message to all my customers, and I want it to look like it's, you know, from their local area codes and those kinds of things. And what they don't realize is, like, there are a lot of restrictions in place from a carrier specific standpoint that do not let you do that right now. There are some changes in those rules and those technologies on laxing that a bit, but you know, the last thing you want to have happen as a company, if you want to do that, is to get listed as spam on a carrier, because it really is carrier specific when you get into that that area, and you don't want to necessarily be spamming all your customers anyways, and those kinds of things. So there's a lot of like long code, short code discussions on what's appropriate based on what a customer wants to do, even from a texting standpoint and in a marketing sense.
Yeah. Hey, so Chris, maybe take, if you don't mind, a couple minutes and just walk through one of the use cases that we've done with one of our customers around texting. How would an organization get value from it? What's some of the ways that we've made it useful for our customers?
Yeah, so the use case for one of our customers right now would be like lead management. So, you know, they have a lead that comes in and they fill out a form on the website maybe, or they send an email. So this particular customer is actually using SugarMarket as well. So again, they're leveraging the Sugar tools. So they're getting that information into the CRM, and then they want to act on it as quickly as possible. But they know that the answer rates for really sending emails is much, much lower than it is for sending text messages. So what they want to do is when that lead or prospect comes into the system, you know, they want to sign that out to a user and have them start communicating with them right away. So trying to set up, you know, times for them to meet and discuss, you know, certain things about the business that they are interested in, and trying to just set up those appointment times essentially.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Now, when we're talking about integrations and things like that, there's definitely more technical integrations that you'd want to have a professional person with it. When it comes to plugins and things like that, is that a solution that just a kind of a average technical person could use a plugin in a CRM, or is that something that they might really want to consider working with a professional person through? What are some of the drawbacks and things to consider with that?
I think regardless, even if it's a very simple use case and the tool allows you to simply map things like one-to-one, I think always just getting at least a professional opinion on if that's the right way to be doing something is always good before kind of rolling with it. Because the last thing you want to do is to bring it to Ken, and Ken has to unwind it and figure out what you were trying to do. And, well, I wanted it to do this, so I did it this way. And, we kind of have to re-engineer and do it in a more best practices way that's more efficient, because there's a lot of things you have to consider as well. Don't want to overload the systems, you don't want to be putting in bad data, and the last thing you want to do is kind of do it yourself and try and get somewhere with it, but then inevitably have to take 2 more steps back and then finally bring it to somebody to get a more professional personal opinion on it. I don't know, Ken, if you have any other
Yeah,
comments.
you're absolutely correct. And we don't even necessarily have to install it or set it up for you, but having the experience that we have with working with these plugins over time, we understand more fully the limitations of some of them, or in some cases where we have seen customers sometimes fail because it did not do exactly what they expected it to do, or they didn't foresee a problem with the way another part of their system works. And working with a partner that understands your data and understands what you're trying to accomplish as a business is really valuable, because we can screen out a lot of plugins that might work for someone else but wouldn't be a good fit for your company.
Plus, at the end of the day, a lot of people just don't have time to do the research and to dig into things like you might need to do. So that's another thing as to how much time is this really going to require yourself to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's cost to value that could be associated with it, and if it's really impeding an individual's, like if you're, the user adoption is being affected by something, you're trying to integrate it, and that takes a long time, you could lose a lot of valuable momentum with your CRM setup.